Ladies and gentlemen, we shall commence with our introductions. Let us give a round of applause to our host, the chief host, the Director General of National Orientation Agency, Madam Lara Isa Onilu. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. A round of applause, please.
That round of applause is not sufficient for the chief host of this event. Please, another round of applause at DG, please. Please, let me inform you that the Director General is supported here by an impressive number of management staff from the National Orientation Agency. Mr. David Akoji is our Director of Special Duties and States Operation, and he's here with us. A round of applause for him. Mrs. Teresa Maduekwe, Director of Public Enlightenment and Mass Mobilization, is also here. A round of applause for her, please. Mr. Kenneth Onyejepu, Director of Procurement, is here. Mr. Nura Yusuf Kobi, Director of Planning, Research and Strategy, is also here. Mr. Sule Haruna, Director of Finance and Accounts, is also here. The host director, Lagos State, Dr. Tuku Mustafa Adedeji, is also here.
All right, thank you. And expecting the arrival of Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, MD, CEO of Nelfund, in a few. May I recognize the presence of Director of Strategic and Communication, Mrs. Oshayemi Okuwatsuji. A round of applause, please. And also, we have the PA to the MD, Mr. Yomi Badamosi. A round of applause for him. Mr. Nasir Ayitogo, TA, Technical Advisor to the MD. A round of applause for him. A round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, this round of applause are weak. A round of applause for all partners. All right. I have a few more here. Recognizing the presence of Mr. Babatunde Alabi Odeyin, Dudu Production. A round of applause, please. Thank you. At this moment, I'd like to welcome everyone to the 747 National Values Charter Campus Debate Finals! A round of applause for our contestants. Let me introduce our contestants.
Okay.
All right, the schools. All right, we are going to take another session to explain to you the journey so far. But let us recognize the presence of the schools who made it so far. The 6 zones, the 6 geopolitical zones have produced 6 finalists. And we don't know yet who is going home with the 20 million naira. Let us welcome Ladoke Akintola University of Technology of Bamashaw.
From the South.
Southwest.
Ignatius Ajuri University of Education, Port Harcourt.
And from the Southeast Institute of Management and Technology, Enugu State.
From the Northeast, Gombe State Polytechnic, Bajoga.
And from the Northwest, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State.
From the North Central, University of Ilorin, Kwara State.
All right, at this moment, a rousing round of applause for our contestants. They've made it so far. A round of applause once again, please, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get tired. Don't get tired. We have just started. We are producing. All right. Let's invite our chief host, the Director General of National Orientation Agency, to give his opening speech. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a standing ovation and a round of applause, please, let's welcome the chief host of today, Madam Lara Isa Onilu, as he makes his way to the podium.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. The faces I'm seeing, the faces of today, not of the future. The faces of our youth, our ever vibrant youth. I welcome you to this occasion. I have a small speech to read, but today is not for speech making. It's to listen to our future, because we are going to be the one to shape our future. And it is what we are going to talk about today. All of us, that glimpse into how the future will look like. The issues that we are debating, that is central to our existence as a country. It is central to our unity. It is central to the call for patriotism. It is central to the progress and prosperity of this country. So we are going to listen to you, and we are going to have that glimpse of how our future will be shaped. So let me go into my speech. Our distinguished guests, our esteemed partners, members of the academia that are here, the representatives of the media, our dynamic youth leaders, the participants from the 6 universities or tertiary institutions that have emerged from the 6 geopolitical zones. I welcome you. You are the heroes of today. And you are all winners already. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride and immense joy that I stand before you today at the grand finale of this and capacity orientation agencies, unwavering feeling and celebrating particular for the argument, their intellect, creativity, and passion for the development of our beloved country. Today, we witness the very best of these efforts as regional winners go head to head for the ultimate prize. To all participants, I extend my congratulations. Your dedication and courage are the building blocks of Nigeria's brighter future. The theme of today's debate, criticizing and dissenting peacefully while maintaining love for one's country, could not be more timely. In an era where our nation faces myriad challenges, from governance to societal cohesion, the power of healthy dialogue and peaceful dissent cannot be overstated. Constructive criticism is not rebellion. It is a cornerstone of democracy and a vital tool for nation building. However, criticism must always be grounded in love for one's country, with the intention of building, not tearing down. Let me remind you all that patriotism is loving your country does not mean turning a blind eye to its shortcomings. Them constructively and solutions You are the voice of today and the hope of tomorrow. While upholding the unity and progress of Nigeria will define the kind of leaders you become and the legacy you leave behind. It is in this spirit that the National Values Charter has been at the heart of the National Orientation Agency's National Identity Project. The 747 Value Charter serves as the foundation upon which we must build a united, prosperous, and peaceful Nigeria. As we celebrate the achievement of our young debaters here today, let us remember that embracing these values is not the responsibility of government alone. It is a collective effort that requires the active participation of every Nigerian, young and old, public and private sectors, rural and urban communities. To our youth, I challenge you to embrace your role as custodians of Nigeria's future. Let your voices be loud, but constructive, bold but respectful, passionate but solution-driven. Remember, no nation can grow stronger unless its youth are united in purpose and vision. To the parents, educators, and policy makers present, let this event be a reminder of the potential that lies in our youth, our young people, when we create opportunities for growth, critical thinking, and leadership. Today's debate is not just a competition. It is a movement to reshape mindset and inspire a renewed commitment to our national values. As we await the announcement of today's winners, I must emphasize that every participant is a winner. You have proven that our youth are not the problem, they are the solutions. The 20 million naira prize today represents more than a reward. It is an investment in the future leaders of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Orientation Agency remains steadfast in its mission to promote values that unite us as Nigerians. This debate is just one example of our collective journey to foster a national identity rooted in discipline, integrity, and patriotism. Let us commit ourselves to building a Nigeria where we can disagree peacefully, debate passionately, and work collectively towards a common vision, a Nigeria we can all be proud of. To the finalists, please feel free, shine brightly today. But remember, your journey does not end here. Use your platform and voice to become ambassadors of peace, unity, and progress. On behalf of the National Orientation Agency, I thank everyone who made this event possible. Our partners, organizers, and participants. Let us continue to champion our National Values Charter as we strive for a Nigeria that reflects the best of who we are. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you. A round of applause for the DJ. For the DJ. The journey so far. And of course, like the DJ has said, the aim of this debate is not just about the 20 million naira win, It is, of course, about reigniting a sense of national pride and a responsibility among young Nigerians by promoting the ideas enshrined in the 747 National Values Charter. The Charter represents a social contract, of course, a balance between the government promises and the citizens' responsibilities in nation building. Permit me also to read this, the 7 promises of government: equality, democracy, entrepreneurship and employment, peace and security, inclusivity, freedom and justice, meritocracy, and of course the 7 responsibilities of the citizens: duty of care, tolerance and respect, leadership, transparency, environmental awareness, and resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, the journey so far as the coordinator for the 747 Values Charter Campus debate, it has really been indeed a journey, and it has been a lot of discovering that we have our youths who can translate practical skills into values, meaningful actions, whether as leaders in their community, they advocate for change and they're custodians of shared environment, empowering one another. They have given prolific speeches, one after the other, in all the 6 regions. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, once again for our contestants. I am so proud of the 6 that have made it. And we're about to commence the debate. Mr. Paul Odain.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all of us, please. What we are going to do here is going to be a small process. The debate is one part. They will be voting online. So, like all the schools, you need to start sending text messages to your people to start voting. Because you might do so well here, and in every democracy, the numbers will take the vote. So, at this point, with our kind permission, DG, sir, can I invite the 4th school that will take the first slot as we begin the debate? From the southwest, Ladoke Akintola University of Ogbomoso, Oyo State. Adekunle Ayomide. And
Adekunle Ayomide.
And Oladeji Oluwashina.
Okay, the first speaker of the Southwest Zone, Ladoke Akintola University of Technology. A round of applause one more time for our contestants.
Ladies and you and I, if you stand to constructively criticize our government from time to time, it is you and I that will reap the benefits from it. But at the same time, if you choose to use vandalism and violence to criticize our government, nobody will suffer the consequences more than you and I. Look at this analogy. Assume that this container that I am holding with me represents the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and this tree inside it is the government of Nigeria. Can you see these green beads? Those are the citizens of Nigeria. What we do in Nigeria every 4 years, or as the case may be, is that we send some of us as citizens to the top of this tree so that they can go and spread the leaves of this tree to provide shelter for us citizens and prevent us from the effect of sunshine and rainfall. However, maybe as a result of incompetence or due to selfish interests, some of these leaders, when they get to the top, or due to different reasons, or due to societal structure, they might not be able to spread the leaves well enough to give us enough shelter. And as a result of that, we need to criticize them. The point is that if you keep quiet, some of these leaders will take these leaves, they will not spread it and go and spread it. They will go and spread it over their family members alone. So we need to criticize. That's the first lesson here today. As citizens, we need to criticize the government. But how do we go about criticism? That's my second thing today. If we as citizens standing below the tree here, if you start throwing sticks from below the tree, trying to pluck these leaves and bring the country down, it might give us a temporary relief by maybe if you are lucky enough, you catch a leaf and you need to give yourself temporary shelter. But within 2 to 3 days, that leaf will wither and you'll be exposed to the long-term agony of scorching sun and rainfall. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. General of the NOA, good morning to you all. I am Oladeji Oluwashina from the prestigious Ladoke Akintola University of Technology and representing Southwest Nigeria. I want to expose us to 3 important ways by which we can express our dissent peacefully to the government of the country. Number 1, I decoded it with the 3 S. Number 1 is sue. Number 2, sports and songs. And then number 3 is street. Sue. Are you aware that as Nigerians, either individually or as a body, you can always file a lawsuit against the government at any point that you disagree with whatever the government is doing? I'll give you an example. During COVID-19 pandemic 2020, the government did not want to release the details of how they spent our money on COVID-19 relief fund. Then SERAP, Socioeconomic Right and Accountability Project, filed a lawsuit against the government and won. It was because of this lawsuit that they eventually released it. Can you see that without bloodshed, without problem, without vandalism, we can effect positive change by using lawsuits? It was during this same COVID-19 that some Nigerians were all over the country in different parts trying to loot palliatives to get temporary benefits. Now, the cartons of noodles that we carried, the bags of rice that we carried, have we not finished them today? Another example is when late Gani Fawehinmi was illegally arrested and detained in 1996. Late Gani Fawehinmi, instead of him to resort to violence or bloodshed or killing people, what he did was to file a lawsuit against the government. And just 4 years after, he gained the court order that it should be released. And even after it was released, the federal government was mandated to pay him a huge amount of money to serve as a penalty for the damage that has been done to his person and to his name. Secondly, I said sports and songs. You would agree with me today that one of our biggest exports from the Federal Republic of Nigeria is how widely traveled our footballers and sportsmen are, and how internationally acceptable our music is. Would it not be wise and smart of us to perch on the influence that our superstars in music and football and other sports have to bring international attention to our government? By that doing that, the government will know that there's a lot of attention on them and people are looking at them. I'll give you an example and an advantage of using this method to express our dissent. The advantage is that it unites us. Look at this. Regardless of your political or ethnic background, that is, whether you are batified, you are articulated, or you are obedient, we all listen to Davido, we all listen to Burna Boy, we all watch Victor Osimhen, we all did the Moro dance. Did we not? Now imagine that Victor Osimhen scores a goal in Galatasaray in Turkey, and he releases off the shirt and says, "End bad governance in Nigeria." Look at how internationally exposed that will be. That will put so much international attention on our government, and they will know that if they do it right, the whole world is looking at them, and if they do not do it right, the whole world is looking at them. The third one I'm saying is street. We've been doing this over and over in Nigeria. Street, hit the street with protest, but it has not always been successful. However, sometimes it has been successful. I must first mention that it is our constitutional rights provided by Section 39 and Section 40 that we have a right to protest as Nigerians. But at the same time, as forward-thinking Nigerians, we have to be well conscious of the fact that as a result of the deeply ingrained political complexity of the country, it is possible that the protest might want to be hijacked by hoodlums and different people for their political or selfish interests. You can remember what happened in Kano just in August when there was a peaceful protest and peaceful protesters tried to gain forceful entrance to the government house and it led to serious unrest and havoc in Kano. How do we now do this? The problem is, how have we been doing the protest? Have we been following due processes? Now, how should we go about the protest if we want to protest? The first thing that we are supposed to do, not as a matter of obligation, but as a matter of importance and necessity, is that before you embark on any protest, we should notify the law enforcement agencies so that they can offer due protection during, before, and even after the protest. This is something that Governor Seyi Makinde has been doing for about 4 to 5 years in Oyo State now by ensuring that police officers and other officers are on ground to secure the protesters. This will also give the protesters a sense of security and safety. If I'm in my house, I'm doubting, should I go for this protest? Should I not go? The moment I know that police officers I know, okay, when police officers are not likely to be shot at, there's no a chance that hooligans will come and hijack the protest. More people will turn out for the protest and the protest will become more effective. Another thing we're supposed to do before we go in any protest is let's publicize the goals of the protest. What do we want to achieve with this protest? This will help us to filter out people that might have selfish interests or ulterior motives and they will not come in time for the protest. One last thing, there's something we call the Public Order Act of Nigeria, enacted in the year 1979. Public Order Act says that before you embark on a protest, you are supposed to go through the state government and directly to the office of the governor so that they can help us to plan the route and time of that protest. This is important because in as much as it is our right to protest at any point in time, it is also our responsibility as Nigerians to maintain public order. I'll give you an example. Imagine that there's a protest going on here and we've blocked all the road. If there's a fire outbreak and the fire vehicle has to pass to go and extinguish the fire, have we not disrupted public order? If there's an health emergency and the vehicle and the ambulance has to pass to go and save lives, have we not disrupted public order? So this is important because we have to plan it through the office of the governor, plan the route and time of the protest so that it will maintain public order and still be able to protest peacefully. We did 3 things in place. It is important. I'm happy to tell you that there's a very good chance that our protest will be resourceful and efficient. Having said those 3 things, I want us to realize 3 important things as well as Nigerians. The first is for the government. The government of Nigeria needs to understand that they do not have the monopoly of knowledge on how to run the government. This means that they must always be open to constructive criticism from the citizens. Number 2, as citizens, we must not always wait in time to say, once the government, maybe because of the person or the party that has brought a policy wants to against it. Look at what is happening with the tax reform bill. We must listen to experts in that field and dissect with an open mind and say, what are the pros and cons? We must understand that some of these policies are like these anti-malaria tablets that I'm using. If you swallow the anti-malaria tablets, at first it's going to be bitter in your mouth, but if you can enjoy that bitterness, you will get cured of malaria. If you don't want to persevere in that, if you spit out the anti-malaria, it is very possible that it's that malaria that will kill the person. I'm going to end this with the tree analogy that I started with. All these methods and the methods that my partner will come and talk to us today on how to dissent peacefully, we must be aware that they will only work well if we are united as a nation. Look at this tree analogy now. We have some bills in this place representing the citizens. If they are trying to effect a change, the country is not stable. But when we have more citizens joining them inside, this country becomes more stable. Because look at it. Even in dissenting peacefully, I want to remind you and make you know that united we fall, united we stand, divided we fall. United, our peaceful dissent will bring results, but when we are divided, our peaceful dissent is going to fail.
Less than 1
Thank you
minute
so
more.
much.
A round of applause. The second speaker of Ladoka Kitala, University of Technology of Bomasha, please take the podium, and 3 minutes. You all have 10 minutes, so you have 3 minutes to round up. A round of applause. Thank you.
Fellow Nigerians, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that truly matter. We must remember Fumilayo Ransome Kuti, Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa. These great men were patriotic leaders who truly loved Nigeria, yet they did not resort into violence or anti-patriotic behavior in fighting for justice, but instead they used peaceful dissent and constructive criticism. My point is that the only condition necessary for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. However, as citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we must learn to understand that in times of disagreement with the government, we have to employ peaceful dissent and constructive criticism. Hence, it is on this premise that I, Adekunle Ayomide, representing the prestigious Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, I will be explaining non-violent ways by which the citizens can express their disagreements with the government, hence maintaining peace and respect. Firstly, we need to understand that criticism is in two ways. We have positive criticism and we have negative criticism. My point is that we as citizens of Nigeria, we can positively criticize the government in a negatively way. I mean, we can positively criticize the government in a negative way. An example of this is that we should always appraise the government when they do the right thing. It's not every time we complain. For example, this competition was organized by the federal government through the National Orientation Agency. This competition is a very brilliant competition. Hence, we should appraise the government when they are doing right thing. And it is this appraiser that will allow them to listen to us in times of disagreement. You will agree with me. Secondly, another way by which we can express our disagreements is through whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is a powerful tool for peaceful dissent, as it allows the citizens to report corrupt government activities and thereby not resulting into violence or vandalism. An example of this is the Tracker Mobile Application 2.0, launched in the year 2022 by Budget. These applications allow the citizens to report corrupt government officials without resorting to violence or fighting up and down. So you see, citizens can use whistleblowing. The third way by which the citizens can express their disagreements without expressing violence or vandalism is through labor strike. This is when essential workers in the country stop working. I mean, when they go on strike, instead of going on violence and destroying the nation, with this, we can ensure that we express ourselves instead of resorting into violence. An example of this is the 2019 Kaduna State Electricity Workers Strike. This Kaduna State Electricity Workers Strike, they went on strike. Instead of them to start spawning government properties, they use strike as a medium of expression of disagreement with the government. You see, my point is that strike embarkment is more peaceful than we destroying the government's policies. So we can use strike. Also, we need to understand the importance of open dialogue and social media advocacy. My point is that instead of us spoiling the government's property, we can express our disagreement through social media. An example of this is during the SARS protest. We have so many examples. Instead of us spoiling the government properties, you see, this social media engagement will even call the attention of international organizations like the United Nations and all, in order to look into this situation. You see, social media is more peaceful because it's less expensive. And finally, fellow citizens of Nigeria, we have to understand that we need to stop stigmatization, because a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria lies in the hands of both the government and the citizens. And the greatest weapon weapon we can use is love. Love for Nigeria and love for our citizens. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Up next is the South Zone, representing the South Zone, Ignatius Ajuru, University of Education, Port State. A round of applause for the first speaker. You have 10 minutes in total. The first speaker, 7 minutes, and the second speaker, 3 minutes.
The Director General, National Rotation Agency, distinguished guests, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Christian Nebari Ngwalu from the prestigious Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Before us is an important motion, criticizing and dissenting peacefully while maintaining love for our country, and in this case, Nigeria. Peaceful criticism and dissent is a hallmark and fundamental aspect of democracy. In fact, take away criticism, and I can tell you the core ingredient has been taken away from democracy. Now, the legal framework for this debate is contained in Section 39, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The section allows for free speech, allows for us to interact, allows for us to even criticize government policies without fear of retribution, without fear of condemnation. However, there is a proviso in Section 45 that abhors insightful comments. This means that even while we can make our speeches, it is not acceptable for us to make insightful comments and comment that threaten peaceful existence of the country Nigeria. Having said all this, are there benefits for peaceful criticism? Of course, there are benefits. Number one, it promotes democracy, it promotes rule of law. If we say democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, one way we can put this is to test, is to allow for peaceful criticism. Another benefit this does for us is it allows the government to understand the social and economic areas, economic problems. When the people speak up, the government understands that these are the areas where we need to bring development. These are the areas where we need to do better. It allows for wider participation. Now, when citizens criticize and do that peacefully, now the people participate. They're now involved in the acts of governance. Most importantly is the fact that it allows for accountability, it allows for transparency. How do we know that the government is transparent or accountable? They become transparent and accountable when people criticize and speak against their policies, speak against their programs. Ladies and gentlemen, this debate will not be complete if I don't speak of how do we criticize, how do we dissent peacefully? And that's the most important. Number one, criticize government policies, criticize government actions. Do not criticize tribe. Do not criticize ethnic group. Do not criticize religion. Religion, ethnic group, and tribes, they are separate parts of citizens' life that will always be insightful when we talk about. Most of the crises we've had in the past as a result of people speaking against people's tribe. You hear this one say, this thing was done by the Igbos. This was done by the Hausas. This was done by the Yoruba. No! We can only criticize policies of government and leave our tribe, leave our religion. By this way, we can live peacefully as Nigerians. Secondly, it is also important that when we engage in protest, our protest should be peaceful, our demonstration should be peaceful, our activism should be peaceful. We've had challenges like the NSAS protest of 2020, lives were lost, properties were destroyed, even the Bad Governance protest 2024, we had a lot of situations where properties and lives were lost. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigerians, I call on us today, can we engage in peaceful protest? We can dialogue, we can talk, and then we resolve issues without resorting to violence. Most importantly also, when we criticize, ladies and gentlemen, let's see each other as one. So let's listen to other people's opinion. Subject our opinion to test. Not all the time we feel that ours is the best. When we subject our opinion to test, we listen to our brother from Kaduna State, we listen to our brother from the West, we listen to our brother from the East. We put our views together, we can always make Nigeria a better place to be. Most importantly also, ladies and gentlemen, when we criticize, it's important that we dwell on the issue. Let's not talk about every issue or whatever. Dwell on a particular issue and profile solution. When we criticize, it is important we profile solution to a problem. Tell the government what they need to do and how they need to go about things. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if we have to criticize, let's leave out Nigeria. A proud citizen of the United States will always feel his shoulder high. I'm a U.S. citizen. Can we once again come up to be proud of Nigeria, our country? This is the only country we can only have. We cannot have any other Nigeria. So when we speak of Nigeria, we should speak of Nigeria with high horse, raise our head up shoulder, and be proud of our country, because we can never have any other country called Nigeria. There are problems all over the world. Even in the United States, there are crises, there are challenges, but you won't see people talk about their country in that light. Nigerians, henceforth, can we speak about our country in good light and leave out criticizing the country? This way, we can be true patriots. And I call on us once again, we can live in unity. Over 250 ethnic groups, we can still unite together, we can do things together and become one strong nation. If we put all of these things together, we will discuss, bring our issues to the table. I can tell you for free, Nigeria will be great and going to continue to be great again. God bless you, great Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Round of applause. The second speaker, United Nigerian University of Education, Toronto, please take the podium. A round of applause as he makes his way.
Director General, ladies and gentlemen, I'll begin my speech in these thoughts. In the true spirit of patriotism lies the passion for criticism and dissenting. Now, according to Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th American president, he says this, and I quote, he says that a good patriot has a heart for his nation and then has a head that thinks. That means that patriotism does not make citizens dummies. Patriotism makes people who have the heart to think for their nation and also have a head to think. That is to say, they can say certain things concerning their nation and profess wisdom to that. Now, I'm going to present my speech in this way. First, you don't wash your dirty clothes in the public. Nobody does that. That means that Nigeria is our country. There's no one nation in this world without the issues of corruption, poverty, mismanagement, misconduct, and ills. And Nigeria is not an exception. Having known that the image of Nigeria should be our reputation, we should uphold Nigeria as a country amidst all odds. Meaning that as good patriots, why do we speak against the ills of governments? Because we must do that. We should also make sure that Nigeria, the reputation of Nigeria, is held with great esteem. Now, how do we do that? Avoid generalization. We must generalize everything. Secondly, we must not be too opinionated. Notice that be silent to other people's opinion. Listen to them and then suggestions. Criticism is going to be constructive when commendation comes before correction. Having said this, we must understand that in the side of our government, there's something we must take note. You don't beat a child and not ask that child not to cry. If you beat a child, definitely the child must cry. The government must understand that their activities should be such that should be able to motivate Nigerians to be good patriots, because patriotism is a motivational issue. When you motivate someone, the person will be more. If we do this, we believe that if every Nigerian should uphold the dignity of this country, you must know this and know this today, that you are the perfect Nigerian public relations officer. Whereas you stand against every issue, you must make sure that the image of Nigeria is upheld, and that is your priority. You do that everywhere you are, and you beat your chest with that. And if we must do this, we must accept our unity. In fact, in our pledge, we said defend our unity. It's to defend our unity. In our unity lies our identity. If we come together, we become one Nigeria. And if one Nigeria has that voice, Nigeria indeed will be well. And then our criticism will be peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us welcome the contestants from Gombe State Polytechnic Bajoga. Ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker, please make your way to the podium. A round of applause, encourage her.
When the world was created, man was nasty, brutish, and foolish. There was a state that is full of lawlessness and anarchy. Then, three people came together to propose and bring state into existence. With this, I say a very cheerful morning to this wonderful August gathering, respected chief guests, the Director General, National Orientation Agency, the gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hassan Musa Abubakar, a student from Gombe State Polytechnic Bajoga, standing here confidently in front of every one of you conversations. Citizens should criticize and dissent peacefully by promoting constructive dialogue. That is by approaching discussion with a spirit of collaboration rather than confrontation. Secondly, citizens should express their love for their country by framing their dissent as an expression of love to their country's future. Use languages that emphasizes national values and ideals, such as highlighting the national values and ideals such as freedom, equality, and justice. Moreover, citizens can criticize the government by engaging politically. Engaging politically by citizens is a very powerful way to voice dissent and push for change. In addition to that, peaceful criticism and dissent can coexist with love for one's country by promoting positive engagement by the citizens and also fostering a spirit of collaboration and respect. In addition to that, there are many historical and contemporary examples of citizens who have openly criticized peacefully and dissent their government without any peaceful barriers. Let's take a few notable instances on citizens around the world and even in Nigeria who have peacefully protested and dissent toward their government. Example, Gandhi of India. We all know Mahatma Gandhi from India. He is an Indian that led a peaceful resistance against the British colonial rule in India. He was known and he was followed because of his charisma. His charisma made people to love, respect, and obey him. Also, Malala of Pakistan is well known. She's well known for her advocacy for girls' education in Pakistan. Also, often criticizing extremist moves in Pakistan. Also, we have the former NFL quarterback in person of Colin Kaepernick. He peacefully protested against racial injustice and police brutality by kneeling down during the national anthem as a means to uphold freedom and justice. Coming back to our motherland, Nigeria, we have different people that have peacefully protested against their government. Example, Aisha Yusuf, a prominent activist and co-convener of Bring Back Our Girls movement. She is well known for her vocal criticism and she yet advocates accountability in Nigeria. Also, Femi Falana, a renowned distinguished lawyer. She is known for her advocacy and she advocates the rule of law in Nigeria. Using our homes as a case study, our parents serve as the government in the house because they are in charge of all the laws within the house. I believe you can never criticize your parent in an unacceptable way. Then why the government? I would like to advise us all as citizens of Nigeria to utilize our brain and also before you criticize the government, criticize yourself. Ask yourself, have you been doing this as a citizen or not? With this, I rest my case in the incorruptible panel of judges, audience, and lives. Thank you for listening.
Once again, the second speaker from Golden State Polytechnic, Bajoga, come up to the stage.
When we came in on Sunday afternoon, we actually looked to the University of Ilorin guest house, and we're still there. That's why the fact we knew they were our opponents in the contest. We did that out of the spirit of togetherness and patriotism. They are too generous to us. In fact, we even came to the venue together. All protocols duly observed and were respected. I'm by name Media Kampu, a student from Golden State Polytechnic, Bajoga. Due to time factor, I'm going straight to the point. Criticism and dissent are essential components of a healthy democracy. When the citizens peacefully express their disagreement with the government policy or action, they are exercising their fundamental right due to free speech. It speaks to the heart of civic engagement, patriotism, and the social contract between the citizens and their government. This helps to hold leaders accountable by making them answerable to their people, fostering national growth and development. Criticism and dissent, it ensures respecting democratic value, and as such, it hinders. Criticism and dissent and respecting democratic values such as freedom of speech and assembly. It ensures that it creates peace and unity. Peacefully dissent also makes citizens to be respectful towards their government. Criticism and dissent undermine national unity because it creates division and weakens cohesion. It leads to disrespecting constituted authority, and such leads to social fragmentation due to the different opinions. Poverty is a disease caused by us, not the government. In the other hand, government should tax the rich to save the poor. Government should tax the rich to save the poor. We need to do something about it. But firstly, what does the government need to do? What do citizens need to do? Citizens should show loyalty, support towards their country, be patriotic, respect constituted authority. Engage in public hearing and town hall meetings where your opinions will be heard. Protest peacefully. Don't destroy things or steal people's property. Join advocacy groups and also on social media that can help you to voice out your problems towards the government. Give us the 20 million so that we can use it for practical advocacy to make impact for the peace and unity of our nation. Let's disagree with our nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Give us the 20 million so that we will do that. Thank you very much. Three zones gone now. The voting pattern is this. Immediately after all the presentations, we will put the voting links and the lines so that we can now start voting for 30 minutes. So that's the process. We will now invite the fourth zone from the southeast, Institute of Management and Technology in the
Round of applause for speaker. Remember, you have 10 minutes total, and after the 10 minutes, it's over.
Politics is a game of power, where our politicians pose as the players. But we all know that the real players are the voters, because politics is a game of numbers. So who say that the majority who have the numbers cannot speak, and the minority who represent us cannot listen? I am not here to support neither the government or the citizens. What we are here is to say that the majority who speak should do that the right way, so that the minority who listen don't go there by the sound of their anger. Before I proceed, it is intended to give honor to whom honor is due. The Director General of National Education Agency, good day, sir. The distinguished guests, honorable ladies and gentlemen, and the General House, good day. My name is Chukwubeto Hamlet from the Institute of Management and Technology, INTU. Here to state the importance of criticizing and dissenting peacefully while maintaining law for one's country. Constructive criticism is a soul of good governance because this draws the government's attention to the cry of the citizens. Criticism is important because even the government needs feedback to understand their own performance. First, constructive criticism promotes democracy. So while constructively criticizing the policies of the government when it goes against the welfare of the common people, even democracy was designed to ensure that everybody is heard and that the government responds timely. According to the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the welfare and the security of the people shall be the primary purpose of the government. But when the government has failed to solve the issues of unemployment, poverty, hunger, illiteracy, surely crime rates will increase, and the citizens will cry out because they are the receiving end. Presently, an average Nigerian is faced with family problem, financial problem, relationship problem, emotional problem, health problem, and currently fuel problem. And all these are choking us. And the only thing we have left is our voice to call on our leaders. For most times, we do this in anger and in the wrong way. So I am here today to show us how we should criticize rightly and peacefully. First, we should understand the difference between calling out the government and calling the government's attention. Why calling out someone? You do that in the hashtag and sometimes drag their head to the wall. But if you call one's attention, you bring them the notice of a need, seeking for assistance and intervention. Again, we should also understand the difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. speak to them. We have stressed ourselves so much that we have talked about the bad sides of our leaders' personality, and we have forgotten to communicate to them rightly. So why constructive criticism promotes democracy, destructive criticism is an agent of development, and we should avoid that rightly. Moving on, criticism. Moving on, our leaders should please understand our tone and language. The federal government should stop mistaking our boldness and courage as a threat. Why we criticize them is for the betterment of our nation, because we love this nation. Our government should understand that when we say men mount, this is not a call of war or violence. All we are saying is that we got your back always. The government should understand that here is not for the faint-hearted. That here, that we are filled with so many young youths. That is why our streets are filled with so many loud voices. So till the government understand that area is a part of greeting here, and that all our conversation comes with a plea. So if you want to talk to me, please start with Baba, brother, sister, I beg no vessel. And you see me beam a smile. How you do? That is how we say hi. And Baba, I dey go. That is how we say bye. So to the government comes to a better understanding of our tone and language, to know that everything that we say about is not just against them, but for the betterment of our country. We don't always have to use tear gas and gunpowder against us anyhow we march to the street. Sometimes all we ask for is a level discussion and a little attention from our leaders. End SARS and ended stars. All we ask for was to end brutality. So when we pour our hearts to the government, I understand that we might not speak the same language because of age difference and generational disparity. But if the government understands us, we will come to that understanding that we are not fighting to kill, but we are fighting for the better future. Not just for today, but for generations yet unborn. And we should come to that understanding that we should not be expecting so much from our country. We should come to that sense that what should I, as a citizen, do for my country? And finally, criticism is a fundamental right. Our president once said, let the poor breathe. And criticism helps to inform the government that when the poor are suffocating and needs extra breath. The most common definition of democracy by Abraham Lincoln is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And so when the citizens are not satisfied by the decisions of their representatives, they tend to voice this out. Constructive criticism is healthy and should be encouraged in democracy as a way to express our fundamental freedom of speech and expression. But however, when expressing this freedom, please don't infringe on another person's right. The concept that when my right ends is where yours begins is a fundamental principle at the heart of every democracy. And then, please understand that your right to swing your arm ends where my nose begins. And finally, you should come to that understanding. Saying that collaboration makes soup sweet. So we should collaborate together as Nigerians to actually better our nation. Because till we build Nigerians, we will start building Nigerians. And finally, until the power of love overtakes our love for power, we will not get it right.
Can true patriotism coexist with criticism of one's own country? As the author James Baldwin once said, I love America more than any other country in the world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, the bench of judge, ladies and gentlemen, men and women of the press, splendid co-debaters. Standing before you this afternoon is Jesse Amarachi, representative of Institute of Management and Technology, IMT Enugu, here to present my stance on the topic, criticizing and dissenting peacefully while maintaining love for one's country. To begin with, peaceful dissent fosters national progress. No country is perfect and without criticisms. Societal flaws are often left unchecked. Countries that resist dissent remain under unchecked system of corruption and inefficiency. Peaceful protest has led to transformative changes. For instance, the civil rights movement in the United States in the 1960s, which include the peaceful protests like the March of Washington, challenged systematic racial inequality, eventually leading to the landmark legislation such as the Civil Rights Act. A 2017 Pew Research study shows that 68% of American citizens believe that criticism of their government strengthens democracy. Avenues to encourage peaceful dissent, such as open forum, inclusive policy making, and transparent governments will harness public opinion, thereby identifying the problem and solving national challenges. By institutionalizing this means, countries can foster trust and demonstrate that patriotism includes continuous improvement. Secondly, suppressing dissent undermines national unity. Suppressing criticism alienates citizens, fostering resentment and division. When individuals feel that they can't give their voice in consent, these contents are often expressed in disastrous forms, such as violent protest or social unrest. In contrast, peaceful dissent fosters national unity because it creates constructive outlets for grievances. Remember, countries like Germany and South Africa who have embraced open dialogue, taking their past mistakes as lessons rather than source of shame. According to the World Value Survey, it shows that countries that high rank in political openness, such as Norway and Oslo, report over 80% citizenship satisfaction in government compared to under 30% in authoritarian regimes. Governments should prioritize citizenship education that teaches citizens on how to criticize rightfully. Also, avenues to voice their legal protection against free speech and public opinion should be reinforced so that criticisms are done with best dialogue. In conclusion, all we are asking for today is to make the white in between the two green so clear so that foreigners will no longer see us as corrupt nations. Thank you.
Taking the podium now is a representative from the University of Illinois, Barnes, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the first speaker of the University of Illinois. Encouraging, please. Thank you.
Okay, this is fine. Representing the Better by Far institution and the North Central, the food basket of Nigeria, I am Alexander Olafisei. Today I'm here to have a simple conversation with you. So good day Nigeria, let's talk. What are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about criticizing and dissenting while maintaining love for our nation. But what exactly is the point of it and why do we need to criticize? Well, one, because it's the only way that governments understand what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Two, because it's an exercise of our rights as Nigerians. It's important that we always communicate what is going right and what is going wrong. Three, because that's the only way that as citizens we can determine in what ways we need to hold the government accountable and have conversations that are important for the independence of Nigeria, the progress of the country, and good living for everyone there. But the important thing is, Nigerians always know how to talk, but I don't think we spend enough time listening. So today, let's listen a little. The first thing we have to look at here is when we criticize, how do we criticize and what do we say? Nigerians have to have proper engagement. When we talk, we have to talk with facts. So often we spend the time talking about things that we'd rather like, rather than talking about the reality of things. The average Nigerian will complain about things without looking at the context to why they happen and why they exist. It is important that when we come to the government and when we talk to them, we tell them what is wrong and we challenge them with facts and figures rather than just emotions. Because the truth is, emotions are hard to understand. If both of us are shouting now, nobody will understand what either person is saying. But when we calm down, when we relax, when we speak with facts, it is easy for us to understand what we have to say, and it is easy for us to insert change. What else do we need to do? It's extremely important that we speak beyond biases. Nigerians need to move on and grow beyond being articulate, being obedient, or being batified. The truth is, at the core of it all, we are all Nigerians. Let me tell you what it means to be Nigerian for me. My name is Alexander Olafisei Senaga. I am a Yoruba boy born in Benin City. By nature of my father's work, I've been to Sokoto I've been to Kaduna, I've lived in Lagos, I've lived in Port Harcourt, I've lived in Enugu. And I can tell you for one, Nigerians everywhere are all the same. We all just want to wake up every day peacefully. We all just want to eat our daily bread. We all just want to have a life that is affordable, a life that is fine and peaceful for us. It is important that when we criticize both the government and ourselves, we look beyond the biases of tribe and religion. You are not just Yoruba, you are Nigerian. You are not just Igbo, you are Nigerian. You are not just Benin, you are Nigerian, and Nigeria comes first. But what else do we need to do? We need to stop focusing so much on the negatives, because the truth is, a lot of the time we approach Nigeria from a perspective of hate. We complain about everything that goes wrong, but we don't talk about what goes right. When we say, oh, I left Ilori to come to Lagos State, we complain about that patch of road that was bad. We complain about this part where it was very uncomfortable. We don't talk about the trains that took us from Ibadan to Lagos very comfortably for only 3,600 naira. We don't talk about the service that we got from Nigerians that protected us from the road. It is not to say that things do not go wrong, but it is important for us to talk about when things go right. And speaking of things going right, Nigerians are sometimes too reactive. Before person talk wrong, we don't talk 2 and 3. It's important that we calm down. Let me give you a perfect example. When Nelfund and the student loan program first came out, everybody said, they're going to take money again. Everybody said this is another opportunity for fraud. But Nelfund was what saved millions of, thousands of Nigerians, including people like me, who couldn't pay their school fees last semester. Nelfund is the reason why I can pursue my dream to be a lawyer in the Nigerian Republic. It is important that when we criticize with sense, calm down, listen, look, and then talk. But what's next? It's not just about what we say, it's also about how we say it. Nigerians are too invested in being banger boys. We are chasing likes and retweets instead of chasing the progress of Nigeria. We want to farm for small $20, $30 of Elon money instead of thinking of the progress that will happen if we engage Nigeria properly. Like I said earlier, if everybody's shouting, nobody listens. If I come and tell you you are mad, you won't want to listen to why I'm saying you are mad. You want to say I'm crazy. As Nigerians, we need to engage both with the government and with ourselves, first in a human fashion, to have conversations that actually matter and have conversations that are based on content. But next, it's also important for us to profile situations. Nigerians more often spend all their time complaining rather than contributing. It's time for us to make the jump. It's not just about what's going wrong. How do you think you can make it right? How do you think this agency you complain about can be better? And speaking of agencies, Nigerians often criticize from the outside view rather than the inside. What does it mean? Every time you have a problem, they increase price of propane to school, Tinubu. Every time you buy something and the price is higher, Tinubu. We have to hold people accountable at various levels. Nowhere is the local government's problem. Nowhere is the state government's problem. Nowhere is the federal government's problem. And nowhere you are the problem. We must criticize not only the government but the citizens. So if you see something, like Mario said, say something. It means that when we see citizens that are moving astray, it means that when we see things that are going wrong, say something. When you see that person that is doing Yahoo, say something. When you see people who are destroying Nigerian properties, say something. Because if you do not criticize yourself, and if you do not criticize Nigerians first, you do not have the platform to then criticize the government at the top. Because the truth is, the government is not separate from us. Everybody that rules Nigeria is a product of Nigeria. And if our citizens do not have the consciousness to first effect change at the lower levels, we are never going to be able to effect change at the highest levels. Why is that change important? And why does Nigeria matter? The truth is, when somebody wants to find out about Nigeria, they look at your Twitter, they look at your Facebook, they look at what you're saying. When the government wants to hear, they look at what you do in protest. But when we do not engage these channels properly, when we do not have proper conversations, when all we do is violence, when all we do is dedicated to trying to alienate tribes, when everybody is anticipating the next tribe by the single Thursday, we are never going to have a system where Nigeria works. We are never going to have a system where there are conversations that help poor and innocent Nigerians like me, like you, and like everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the second speaker from the University of Ilorin.
If you want to understand
that by the time the last speaker finishes, we're going to open the line for voting. Online viewers watching us, their lives, the destiny is in your hands. And if you're in this auditorium, you can also vote. We're going to display a barcode. When you see the barcode next, with the ICT, Banji, can you please let's have the barcode so that people can see, and you can also copy that and go to the link where you can vote. A round of applause for Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State representing the first speaker. Please make it to the podium.
The human body is designed with mechanisms for checks and balances. When the body goes overboard or underperforms, these mechanisms are responsible for calling it into order. There's a fatal class of diseases in medicine called autoimmune diseases, where these mechanisms in a way lose their love for the body and go overboard, causing significant degradation and in many cases death. Democracy, as defined by Abraham Lincoln, is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Although free speech and criticism remain crucial to the foundation of democracy, we must not forget that the main repetitive factor remains the people. That means we, the citizens and the government, remain one and the same. And solidifying that identity is the first step in maintaining love for our country while criticizing and dissenting peacefully. Aside our unparalleled intellect, masterfully captured in the National Values Charter of the National Identity Project, another identifying feature of we Nigerians is our respect. In that regard, good morning to our honored guests, the Honorable Director General and the hard-working members of the National Orientation Agency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sadiq Sani Lambata, a medical student representing the naturally ahead Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, representing the Northwest, here to discuss the topic, the identity of us as Nigerians, our relationship as citizens with our government, and the role of that relationship in criticizing and dissenting peacefully while maintaining love for our country. In his book 1984, George Orwell describes a totalitarian society, completely devoid of free speech and autonomy. He highlights the dangers of such a society and ultimately its collapse. This is to show that criticism and antagonism are not synonymous. Like a mother correcting her child, criticism can be a profound act of love in form of constructive criticism, as opposed to the more notorious destructive criticism. With this, we have established that no nation or partnership can survive in the long term or prosper without mechanisms for check and balance, just like the mechanisms we have in the body. And for criticism and dissent that becomes violent or disruptive, history remains the best teacher, for it teaches us about the trials and failures of human endeavors, the rise and fall of human civilizations, and the consequences of our actions and inactions. These stories are evident in lessons from countries like Syria, Sudan, Afghanistan, Libya, that have fallen due to violent dissent and led into its significant instability. And the formation of totalitarian societies like Nazi Germany or Italy under Mussolini due to lack of criticism during the Second World War. We have already established that it's necessary to have constructive criticism and peaceful dissent for the progress of the country, as long as these are backed by love and patriotism for the country. The question then becomes, how do we establish this love and patriotism among our citizens in Nigeria? Statistics would say our greatest import is probably technology, or petroleum products, or weapons even. However, I believe our greatest import is the media, with which we inculcate values from other countries, which promote people to criticize and negatively compare our country, our values, with the values of the external world. I grew up on shows like Tales by Moonlight, beautiful shows that told the story of us as Nigerians, celebrated our heritage, our culture, and our values. A stark contrast from the cocomelon of the Gen Z. Promoting national cartoons and media to teach our children about our culture, our values, our heritage is the first step in developing that love and patriotism in young Nigerians right from the onset. We can go ahead and promote the citizenship education and citizens brigade in our adults, teenagers, and even reorientation for our politicians. After inculcating these values in our young children, this goes a step forward to consolidate those values among the citizens. It is no surprise that the reputation of Nigeria has fallen in recent years due to bad activities of our brothers and sisters within and outside Nigeria, online and offline. However, correcting our value system, inculcating patriotism and love of Nigeria among our citizens would be the first step in creating the perfect ambassadors for a global reputation management campaign to remind the world why we are and will always be the giants of Africa, and maybe someday even the giants of the world. My fellow Nigerians, we must not disrespect the national symbols of our country, our national flag, our anthem, our pledge, even our national attire. These are things that remind us of our unity and shared identity. They teach us about our heritage as well as our shared aspirations. That is why even today I stand before you proudly, dressed as a typical Nigerian citizen that can be identified anywhere in the world. We must also remember that the foundation of our nation was built on the back of peaceful dissent and constructive criticism. Our founding fathers, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Sir Nnamdi Azikiwe, with their West African pilots and the Nigerian Tribune. We cannot forget the brave voices of Sir Ahmadu Bello, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the immutable actions of Chief Anthony Enahoro and Madam Fumilayo Ransome Kuti. These were people that set the foundation of a nation that we have inherited up until this level. For the first time in a long time, it is now our turn and we have reached a crucial level in our nation's history. It is not just on us at this point, as through the National Orientations Agency National Values Charter, we have been given a platform and an avenue from the government to give our feedback and aid them in creating a Nigeria that not just us, but future generations will be proud to call their own. Thank you. God bless the National Orientation Agency, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I have a confession to make. I once believed that criticizing my country was an act of betrayal, a display of disloyalty. I thought dissent meant turning my back on Nigeria, but I was wrong. And today I stand before you to share why I believe that criticizing and dissenting peacefully are not just rights, but duties of every patriotic Nigerian. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, distinguished members of the National Orientation Agency, the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am Usman Abubakar Ibrahim, a medical student from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, representing the Northwest region. I stand before you today to discuss on a topic that is very close to my heart, criticizing and dissenting peacefully while maintaining love for our own country. Criticism and dissent are two words that have always carried along them negative connotation, but think of them as the necessary discomforts that helps a nation grow, much like how exercise strengthens our muscles. Consider the hygiene hypothesis. The hygiene hypothesis asserts the fact that exposure to germs during childhood strengthens the immune system. In the same way, exposure to different perspectives and criticisms strengthens a nation's governance. The opposition parties play a crucial role in this. They challenge the ruling party by ensuring that different perspectives are entertained and that policies are scrutinized. Criticism is ensuring that proper solutions are proffered to problems, while dissent is ensuring that we express opinions that challenge the status quo. Examples abound in our history. Remember the story of Hamzat Lawal and the Save Bajega campaign in 2012. It was through Hamzat Lawal's peaceful dissent and persistent advocacy that he ensured that the plight of over 1,500 lead-poisoned children in Bajega, Zamfara State, was brought to light, ultimately compelling government to act. This shows that peaceful criticism can actually work, can bring about positive results. Peaceful criticism also ensures that the focus remains on the topic and not descending into chaos. The story of Amasa Firdaus, who some years ago was prevented from attending the call to bar ceremony with her hijab Through peaceful advocacy, she sparked a national conversation on religious equality and rights. Further, let's consider what happens to countries that have gone the path of violent descent. Countries like Libya, Sudan, and most recently, Syria. What will happen to our international identity, our national passport, when we toe this unfortunate path? It is worthy of note that our image abroad, our image in the international communities of nations is determined effectively by how we handle criticism. Nigeria is currently navigating a chart of challenging reforms, similar to what countries like North Korea, South Korea, and Singapore faced in the past. However, it is worthy of note that true love for country and patriotism emerges, shines through during times of strife and adversity, and not times of ease. Just like how Singapore and South Korea today sit in the Committee of World's Greatest Economies, Nigeria also